They told you Judas betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. That his name would forever mean traitor. But what if that was never the truth? What if Judas didn't betray Jesus? What if he was chosen to fulfill a mission no one else could understand? Because somewhere, buried for nearly 2,000 years, a lost text tells a story that the world was never ready to hear. A story where Judas wasn't the villain. He was the only one who truly understood him. In 2006, deep in the deserts of Egypt, a crumbling leather-bound codex was unearthed by a farmer. At first, it looked like just another ancient manuscript. Until scholars realized what they were holding. It was written in Coptic, an ancient Egyptian language, and at the top of the fragile pages were words no one expected to see. The Gospel of Judas. Not Matthew, not Mark, not Luke or John. Judas. For centuries, the church called him cursed. But this book told a very different story. The manuscript was fragile, breaking apart as they touched it. Its pages had survived wars, fires, and even smugglers. Some say it was hidden on purpose. Buried by early Christians who feared what it revealed. When scholars began translating it, they were stunned. This was not a story of betrayal. It was a story of obedience. In these forbidden verses, Judas wasn't turning against Jesus. He was following his secret command. According to the text, Jesus told Judas, "You will exceed all of them, for you will sacrifice the man that clothes me." That line changed everything. Sacrifice the man that clothes me. To scholars, it sounded like Jesus was asking Judas to free his divine spirit from his human body. Not betrayal, but obedience. Not greed, but destiny. The gospel paints Judas not as a villain, but as the only disciple who truly understood the plan. The others worshipped Jesus as a man. But Judas, he saw beyond the flesh. And in this story, he's not damned, he's chosen. When news of the translation spread, the Vatican stayed silent at first. Then came the denials. It's Gnostic heresy, they said, a distortion of Scripture. But questions started spreading online. Why was this text hidden for centuries? Why was it buried instead of destroyed? And how many more lost gospels are still out there? The Church had long known about this text. Early Christian writers mentioned it as far back as 180 AD, but it was banned, silenced, and erased from canon. In the Lost Gospel, Judas speaks with Jesus alone. Away from the other disciples, Jesus tells him things no one else could hear. He laughs at the prayers of the others. He calls Judas his closest spirit, and when Judas agrees to hand him over, it isn't betrayal. It's destiny. A painful divine assignment that would make the rest of the world hate him forever. Imagine knowing your name will be cursed in every tongue and still obeying. The text doesn't describe a man falling into evil. It describes a man chosen to bear the weight of the world's misunderstanding. It's not about greed, it's about enlightenment. To Gnostic believers, spirit and flesh were opposites. Judas wasn't killing Jesus, he was helping him ascend. And that's why this gospel terrifies traditional faith. Because if it's true, everything about sin, betrayal, and salvation changes. Who wrote it? No one knows for sure. Some say it came from an early sect of Christians who followed secret teachings of Christ. Others believe it was a forgery meant to challenge the Church's authority. But one fact stands. The document is real, carbon dated to around 280 AD, older than most surviving copies of the New Testament. So, if it's a lie, it's a very ancient one. The last lines of the Gospel of Judas are barely readable, but one phrase stands out, repeated twice. You will be cursed, but you will save them all. That one sentence changes everything. What if the story of betrayal was the story of obedience? What if Judas didn't damn himself, but carried out the hardest act of loyalty ever recorded? History writes heroes and villains, but sometimes the lines are drawn by those who win. So ask yourself, if the man everyone called a traitor was truly chosen, then what else have we been taught to fear? That was never the enemy. The Gospel of Judas may be just a text, or it may be a warning. That truth doesn't always wear a halo. If you want more stories the world tried to erase, subscribe now, before this one disappears too.